Good morning, Lompoc.
Good morning, Lompoc. We reached another Friday.
It's another Friday. And I know this has been a really, really tough week. So
Another
hang in
one.
there. I mean, it was kind of tough preparing for this show when California is kind of burning again.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, it goes back to last Friday or Saturday. We ran outside, grabbed a camera just to watch the beautiful lightning storm. And I guess that lightning storm lit up California quite a bit.
I think I didn't even realize at the time that it was the entire state that was that had a thunderstorm, and that created multiple fires.
Yep.
I think there's 360 fires right now in California burning. So pretty nuts. So we appreciate you firefighters.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for being out there and risking your life to do what you do. I can't even begin to imagine. And to Lompoc firefighters specifically who are out there right now. And where do they go? You mentioned something earlier.
No, I know that a couple of the Lompoc firefighters, I don't know if they're still out there, but on one of the fires down near LA last week, they were down there. So again, our local firefighters will be joining some of the fight throughout the state. So kind of keep track of that. Yeah. Keep them in your thoughts.
And we know parents are hanging in there this week, so good on you. We got some kind of interesting updates about that and what's going on. We're also going to be speaking with local artist, singer, and songwriter Angeline LaPointe about a little bit about her process and her new album release, which she had to kind of adapt her traditional release in light of the pandemic, which it's interesting with everything going on. Obviously, we had to move outdoors for restaurants and recreational activities, but then California is burning and the air quality is horrible, which in Lompoc, I guess when you look on the air quality map, we're kind of better off, even though it looks horrible. So, anyways, that's something we'll get into a little bit later. We have Miss Alaia Baillargeon with her Fun Fact Friday. That kind of leads into some more fun Lompoc history.
She is talking about
libraries.
Some interesting facts.
Some interesting updates on our local libraries too.
Yes.
And then what else here? We've got some fun ideas for your school portraits this year. That will be a lot of fun.
Thanks to Stephanie Green and family for the inspiration.
Oh my gosh, it's amazing.
That should be a little bit of fun.
And then what else? Sorry, go ahead.
We have Angelina. We've interviewed Angelina LaPointe, amazing artist that I've known for some time. But in addition to the interview, we have a performance by their band in a garage that I got to go and film. And it's a song from their new and upcoming album that we'll talk about as well. So that should be super exciting. While you're waking up, grabbing your coffee, don't forget to share this show with your friends. Help them wake up with a little bit of good news, hopefully. That's always helpful.
And speaking of trying to wake up with some good news, we felt like everybody should just kind of relax a little bit with some animals and just kind of take a deep breath. So I think that's how we're going to start the show. These are some elephants.
Yeah, from Oregon Zoo. So just the grace and agility of elephants having fun in the water.
Aren't they cute?
Take a deep breath.
Oh my gosh. I wish that was me. How
cool is that? I love the water.
This is a long video, Jeremy.
Well, who's going to get upset at looking at elephants? Awesome. I think you and I both talked about our second career could be working at a zoo.
Yes.
So, midlife crisis, perhaps.
That's pretty awesome. Okay.
You can click that. Anyway,
moving on.
Elephant. I feel better already. How do you guys feel?
One interesting thing that we found, some more good news, is that back in 2017, the Global Wildlife Conservation promoted their 25 most wanted list. So these are 25 species that have basically been lost. So they thought that they were either extinct or maybe they were still around. They just hadn't made an effort to find them. So in the last 3 years, we have rediscovered 5 of those species. One of them is Wallace's giant bee, which has been missing since 1981. Another was a velvet pitcher plant, which has been missing since 1918. And another was the silver-backed chevrotin, also known as the fanged mouse deer, which has been missing since 1990.
Fanged mouse deer.
But one of those animals was this Jackson's climbing salamander. This was last seen in 1975. And this is in the mountains of Guatemala. And they this guy, it's kind of a cool story. Carlos Vasquez spent 3,000 hours searching for this little guy.
That's commitment right there. Dedication.
So the only reason they found it was a consortium of international groups kind of set aside a little reserve area where they knew a lot of these species that were also endangered were, and they just literally waited, and he found it after 3,000 hours of searching for it. He found this little guy in 2017, so he was the first species that was rediscovered.
Wow.
And why are salamanders important in the first place? Why do we even care about salamanders?
Tell me why, Michelle.
Can you guess that?
Well, they're part of the circle of life.
You're so close. So we know salamanders eat mosquitoes. They eat other insects. They're also a really important indicator of ecosystem health. So if salamanders are extinct, we know that there is a bigger problem that's underway. And they're also food for larger predators. So that's a really
So I was right.
Indicator.
The circle of
kind of. So that's the little guy. Isn't he cute?
Sure.
Another animal that was rediscovered here in 2020 is the Somali sengi, or sengi. Somebody can probably correct me here. I'm covering up his little face. I gotta move that.
Look at that nose.
Look at that little nose. He's also known as the tiny elephant shrew, and this was the first one on the list from Africa, and the only one to be found in a healthy population so far because there's no people there.
Wow.
So that's why we haven't seen him since, is that there's no people in that area, and they didn't go looking for him until recently. So
maybe some of these just hid really well.
I think so.
Could have been.
But he's been supposedly last seen in 1968, and I'm glad we found him. He looks like Dumbo.
That's really cute.
He's really cute. Okay. All right. What's next? So back to school this week.
Yes.
I feel like we should all take a deep breath. I found this, which I found to be, I think this is pretty pertinent to how everybody is planning their schedules. We should just get one of these. Ooh. Everybody needs one of these. This is part of your back to school art supply list. Is that
we know a few teachers out there that probably once in a while feel like this is just as good as any other predictor of things.
And so, I don't think that it's. I mean,
well, it's kind of like the whole 2020. We're just shaking the 8 ball. So.
I mean, right now with the fires burning, oh my God! Like I can't imagine the people who had to evacuate just in the last second. So this is better than anything else. So, and then also. Kids are back to school. The Lompoc Unified School District is doing their meals again. So if you didn't already know about that, that's on Mondays and Wednesdays. You do have to be enrolled in a school. I think you just have to bring your student ID number. But the Monday pickup, you can get your Monday lunch, Tuesday breakfast, Tuesday lunch, Wednesday breakfast, and then on Wednesday, they'll offer all your meals for the rest of the week. So that is available. Remember, that's an option for people you might know.
And take advantage of it. The school district is doing their best to step up and make sure that a big portion of our younger folks in the community are being fed, and that's important.
Yep. You do need the student's name or name in school or the student ID number. So that's pretty important too. And then if your kids... if your little ones still you still need a place for them to go. Maybe you're busy during the day or you just really need some quiet time. Gymnastics.
Bring them to our house.
No, definitely not. Gymnastics North is offering their preschool camp this September. So that's for ages 3 to 6. On Fridays, I think when I just checked last night, there was 10 spaces open.
Okay.
So that's an option. And then also locally, we did want to celebrate one more time. Grocery Outlets Independence from Hunger campaign.
And I know a lot of you saw several posts about that, but again, it's just they blew their total out of the water with an extra $14,000 on top of the $20,000 that they wanted to raise. So they were able to
gave them an opportunity to buy this cool refrigerated trailer.
Yeah, which is amazing. So this supports the food pantry in that they can make sure a lot of the foods that come in don't expire, and they can just host more food there to feed the community. Again, the demand for food in our community is up 40% just at the food pantry. So, and they're feeding close to a third of our community. That's pretty astounding.
About 6,000 families. So
kudos again to Grocery Outlet and Alex and Aaron Crocker for leading the way on how we get things done here in a small community.
Yep. All right, some other fun stuff.
Yes.
So we had a chance to camp at Halama. It was a friend's 40th birthday.
Yes, your second time camping ever.
It was my second time camping in my entire life. Which, okay, despite the fact that I know everything's burning, the weather was pretty ideal.
Yeah.
You know, I did come home on Wednesday just because I felt like I needed to shower. I'm not quite there yet, but I'm working on it. And there was an insane phenomenon, which I hadn't really fully experienced before. And I thought that these were the Santa Ana winds blowing. Jeremy put together some footage.
And it doesn't show it as well as it
but that was the sky.
Yep. Wait till the end.
I think that was the first night that we were there on Tuesday night. That is what the ocean looked like. I don't think Jeremy did much color correction other than to make it look like what it did. We were there. It was already about 80 degrees. Yes.
Right. And then as we're standing there at the beach watching this beautiful sunset, all of a sudden somebody turned on a blow dryer.
Yes.
And literally from the direction of the sun, there was these just crazy hot winds that at least had to be 100 degrees. And it just shocked us. It was a phenomenon like, what in the world? Why is there hot weather coming off of the water?
Yeah.
So Michelle looked into it.
Well, I had some theories that turned out to be wrong. I thought it was like the Santa Ana winds meeting up with like the fires in SLO County and Monterey. I thought that was what was going on, but it turns out these are called sundowner winds. So these typically predate the Santa Ana winds, which usually come on, I guess, in September. And these blow from the northwest. And these can reach up to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. But some of the records indicate that back in like the 1800s, there were gusts of wind that got up to 133 degrees. And I felt like our eyes, like our eyelashes.
It just felt like somebody
singed.
opened an oven with the fan on. It was bearable, but super hot.
Because it was already 90, and then these gusts would be. They were definitely over 100.
Yeah.
And it says gale force winds. So that's between like 40 miles per hour up to like 55 miles per hour. But it's because of the San Ynez Valley gets so hot.
Yeah.
And then you've got the marine colder winds. Yeah. And then those are mixing. It creates these gusts that go over the San Ynez Mountains. I couldn't find any information as to why I felt them at Point Conception. Because like everybody just focuses on Santa Barbara for the research on it. But it was kind of fascinating.
It was gorgeous. It was one of the most beautiful sunset event type things that I think I've ever seen. But again, it was enhanced from a lot of the haze and smoke that is coming down from up near Monterey and Carmel area. So just a crazy phenomenon. But it was an amazing experience.
Yeah. It's one of those things. It's like we appreciate the beauty of these, like, you know, these events. And just like the lightning storm, I know so many people were commenting. It was kind of stunning to watch, but then, I mean, they are so powerful and so dangerous.
Well, we know that firsthand here in Lompoc, and several people shared photos. And again, LA Times had an article about, 11,000 lightning strikes creating 350 fires. Here in the Lompoc Valley, lightning hit a palm tree out in the village, and I think it was out in the village, and it was on fire. So it does happen. It did strike several places around here as well. So, but we had no idea it was just going to go on and go up the whole state. It was,
I thought Santa Barbara County got like calls for 300 different strikes.
Maybe that's.
But it might have been multiple calls. But that's just what the post had said. But anyways, pretty insane. So. Interesting fact. I just learned about sundowner winds for the very first time, and I've lived here my whole life. So,
interesting.
Next, I have Miss Alaia Baillargeon with her fun fact for Friday. So here we go. Thank you so much, Miss Alaia.
Good morning, Lompoc. This is Alaia with Fun Fact Friday. Today's theme is libraries. The oldest library in the world is from the 7th century BC in modern-day Iraq. You can always return an overdue book. One book was returned after 122 years. Lompoc's first proper library building was built in 1911 at South H and Cypress Streets. Remember, you can still pick up books from our public library even though they are currently closed. That's all for Fun Fact Friday. See you next week. Bye.
Thank you so much, Miss Alaia. We really appreciate this because you gave us some fun ideas to look into. So I looked into Lompoc's first library. We actually had a library right before that that was built in 1907. And this was fascinating to me. It was so on June 24th, 1907, the trustees of the town of Lompoc voted to establish a public library, but it was not the trustees' idea. It was actually a group of women, the Alpha Literary and Improvement Club. That was their idea.
So men, don't be offended here, but the women stepped up
yes.
for the library. So.
And they had a lot of pushback against it. So people were worried about the cost of the library. They were also worried about women getting some radical ideas and the spread of those ideas, like wanting to vote. So they were trying to stop at that, but they got a petition going in a town of 1,400 people in order to get this to be pushed through. And they built a little library 6 months later. And I think that was on North H. But then they didn't stop there. They pushed the trustees in 1910 to write a letter to millionaire industrialist
famous
Andrew Carnegie and ask for funds to build a big, new, beautiful
doesn't
library.
Hurt to ask.
It doesn't.
And it came through.
And this is, obviously, that's when it was first built. We don't see any cypress trees around. So that's in 1911.
How cool is that?
Right?
Yeah.
So some horseback. It just looks so different without those trees
that
there,
had to be
it?
the coolest, most modern building. It was a Carnegie-inspired building. And it still stands.
It's still there today.
It now houses the Lompoc Museum. So if you didn't know that. So we're hopeful that sometime soon, that we'll be able to get back in there and check it out and feel what it might have been like to be in the old library.
It was a library for 60 years before it became a museum, I believe in 1970.
And because of the women pushing for this, about roughly a decade before the women got a right to vote, we had this. That was pretty amazing story.
So can I get a thank you, ladies?
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you so much. Thank you.
And also to her point, I didn't know that the public library was doing book holds online. So they're technically closed, but you can go online to reserve your books. Go on blackgold.org, or you can call and you can reserve books online. And then go pick them up. And then they also have children's book bundles. So if you go on to the City of Lompoc's website, cityoflompoc.com/library, you put in your, fill out a little form, you put in your kid's age and their reading level, and they'll curate a little bundle of up to 5 books for your kid to take home. And
wow,
something to do.
I'm too old for that, I think. But that's pretty cool.
And you don't know how to read, do you?
Yeah. I'm learning. I'm getting better. Brad is teaching me.
Okay, and then back to school photos. We had some ideas. Well, I didn't have any ideas. We
were inspired.
Our friend Stephanie Green. She so creative. She's got 3 little ones that are the cutest, funnest little kids, and she's also a huge animal lover. So she put together.
Let's clarify. She's a huge animal lover.
People nickname her Snow White. So this is them. Isn't that so clever? So they did these for at home. They had a lot of fun with it.
Super creative.
So I thought we would do one for Jeremy, and we didn't do as good of a job on this one. But she did show us how to put it together. So we thought we'd give you a little peek on how you could do this at home. So here we go. So if you can't tell, he was a CSA box. a Lompoc CSA box. So
that was actually a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we were going to do Michelle as well, but we got hungry and ran out of time. So next time
I had a little bit of a hangry moment, but I have to show this because this was pretty hilarious. As he was laying there afterwards.
What are you doing?
Collard greens.
This is our cat. She's 17. And she's a vegetarian.
What are you doing? Oh.
So she approved of that little box.
Anyway, yes, and had a mouthful of collard greens. Yeah. I didn't know that was a feline trait, but we're learning, doing research here. Research here about cats and vegetables.
Yes, that was a lot of fun. So thank you so much, Stephanie, for the inspiration. And maybe you guys can have some fun. So you just a cardboard box, put a little head hole, and then you can get some potting soil, some sand, some rocks in there. We were gonna use the beans, but then I thought they would touch Jeremy's greasy head, and
thanks.
It might and then I wouldn't be able to eat it, and we don't want to be wasteful. We're in a pandemic. We don't want to be wasteful. So yeah.
Well, anyway, that was a lot of fun. Thank you, Stephanie, and the kids for being so creative and inspiring us to follow you.
Thank you. All right, so now we'll get into Angie. This is kind of the...
And I want to tee her up a little bit. I met Angie, I want to say 05, 04, 5, or 6, somewhere in there probably. Okay, 15 years ago. So at the time, and she's had a 20-year musical career. Yeah. So, I mean, she was just starting 3 or 4 years into that.
Yeah,
and she's just always
14 years old? 15 years old. She started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she's super creative. And not only is she creative in the musical side, but on the art side. So this is just...
not 15. Because she's 35. Wait, is that 20 years?
Don't tell her. No, she's like 29 or something. But anyway, she's an amazing print artist as well. So this is a great little interview. If you have some teenagers or young kids that are sometimes looking for inspiration or staying creative or musical or into art, there's some little tidbits and nuggets here that you might appreciate. So again, thank you, Angelina, for coming and let us interview you. And we're excited to show a little music video at the end as well. So thank you.
And I'll tell you a little bit more about her upcoming show that is virtual next week. So here we go. Cool. Thank you so much, Angelina.
I've known you for years, and I'm just so excited that we get to continue your conversation with our Good Morning Lompoc crowd.
Right.
Tell us about the randomness of your life and everything about you.
I grew up in a very creative household. My parents make ceramics for a living. I was always around people making art and people making music, and so that's always been important in my life. I started playing music when I was about 15 years old. I got a bass guitar and started jamming out with different people, had a band in high school, but I also have done visual art for most of my life as well. When it came time for college, there was a maybe you should pick one sort of thing that happened, because everyone assumes that if you make art and you make music that neither of those are going to be a sustainable career, so you should pick one. And I just didn't. So I went to school for book arts, which is the book as a form of fine art. Visual art is the thing that I'm more technically skilled in. I'm trained in it. I have a very traditional background, whereas music and songwriting was the thing that I was just like, I want to do this. I have stories to tell. I'm going to do it the way I want to do it.
You got a new project that you've been working on.
I do, yes. It's an album with my band, with my most recent band, Angie and the Nightmares. The thing that's primarily different about this album than the last album is this album was written entirely in my 30s. There are very few songs about getting together with people or breakups on this album. It's all songs about other stuff, like looking back at my younger self and sort of writing about some feelings that I had at that time. My songs will be specifically about either things that bother me or things that amuse me. I'm kind of like, oh, that's cool.
And sometimes a little bit of both.
Kind of, definitely. Definitely that. Songwriting, particularly when it's about your own like personal pain or stuff that you're going through in your life, can be really heavy and maybe a little sadder than we all want in our daily songwriting. So I always try to disrupt myself a little bit. It's like, how can I make fun of myself? What's funny about this? What's fun about this? And kind of inject a little bit of that along with the emotion.
Imagine you're speaking to kids that are 12, 13, 14, 15, maybe getting their bass for the first time or just starting to think about music, but they feel like they really want to go for it. Talk about how you as a young person found your calling, and what would you tell people that are trying to find their creativity and stay sustained with that effort?
It's always good to have a place that you feel comfortable and to practice there, but also to challenge yourself. So it's good to set yourself some goals, but also to remember to work where you are. Whether that be something that gives you a little bit of structure, say, well, I practice on Tuesday. Even if you sit down and you play nothing that you like, at least you know that, like, I practice on Tuesday, and that's a fact. You don't have to get better, you don't have to get worse, you just like set a little goal for yourself. Also good to bring other people into your creative process. One of the best ways to continue to be a musician is to have people that you play with. The buddy system works, and if there's somebody that you're learning a song with or something, then you have to sit down and practice, because you know that you're going to see each other, and if you didn't practice and they have the same thing, get on stage if you can. Open mic nights are awesome when we're back into the real world. Live streaming is cool, so you can do that now.
Every album, you're coming at it with some sort of new artistic, tactile, tangible expression.
Yes. So
what was the inspiration for this?
Because of my background in book art, I like to have little things that come with my stuff. This is a little book thing. It's sort of inspired by like a pillow fort that you build in your living room, or it's kind of like a little tiny music festival. I grew up going to lots of folk music festivals, like the Live Oak Music Festival, and that whole kind of music being played in tents or around the campfire kind of aesthetic was something that I sort of latched onto a little bit as well.
Such a cool little piece of collateral, and we are so used to listening to music on Spotify or Pandora online now, but to actually get a CD, and then it comes in this little thing that you can kind of play with as you're listening to the whole album, and get into the artist's head too a little bit. So.
It's just creativity. She's just amazing. So we're so excited to play a little music from her in just a minute or two here.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about her. She has a special event coming up.
Typically she always does a big show.
Yeah, big album release. You invite everyone, big theater.
Yes.
Big performance.
And she is a performer to the T. You know, she does the full hair and makeup and costume, and she almost calls it like her armor before she goes in. But they can't do that this time, obviously, because the stupid pandemic. So they are doing a live stream from Sort This Out Cellars in Solvang. So that'll be next Friday, August 28th, beginning at 7 p.m. So you can go on to their Facebook page, Angie and the Nightmares, and watch them live through there.
And if you're watching here or see in the comments, I posted, and so did Angie and the Nightmares, they posted about the event. So again, this is Friday, August 28th in the evening. You want to see a live performance, local music, incredible talent. I think that would be really, really cool. So make sure you pop it on your calendar.
And I said Sort This Out Cellars, but I think they have a little tiki lounge in the back. So that's where they're
they're just using the space. It's not open. But
yes. So anyways, I think we're ready for her song. Do you want to mention anything about the song?
Yeah. So again, this is I just came in with a couple cameras by myself and set them up just to try to capture one song. So I think it turned out okay, but it's a beautiful song from her album. You can hear the real version of this song on Bandcamp if you just search for Angie and the Nightmares. And I think there's a link on her Facebook page as well.
Is this a fake version of the song then?
No, this is just a live performance in the garage as they were practicing. So anyway, thanks for letting me come over and check it out and record.
And that'll be the end of our show. So I just want to say thank you guys so much for watching.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us. We know that this has been a really tough week, and so hang in there.
Yes.
Stay safe. At least you've got your mask now for breathing in all this crap. Yep.
And we're going to do our best. I have to quick shout out to Michelle. Our 10th anniversary is next weekend. Yes. So I think we're going to have a show, but there's a chance we may shorten it a little bit. And we're going to get out of town and hopefully have a close by staycation for our 10th anniversary. Yes. So anyway, just so you know, next Friday may be a shortened show, but it'll be lots of fun. And I might share a little bit of footage from Michelle and I's wedding 10 years ago when I looked like a child.
Yes, when you were handsome.
But anyway,
all right.
Thank you, Angie.
Thank you.
And
this
the
is
Nightmares.
Girl Talk from Angie and the Nightmares.
Have a
would you want me around? I wouldn't want to waste your valuable time. I've been thinking that I should call, even though you don't know me at all. It's been at least a month since we said we should hang. Just couldn't find the nerve, couldn't summon the words to pack down this whole herd of crippling clouds. I'm thinking maybe we could be friends. Don't let this be over before it begins. Gives me no day, but it's my mouth again. 'Cause I still don't know how to talk to him. I've been sitting here by myself. I've been working on my mental health. I don't have the energy to go. 'Cause what if we don't get along? What if I say something wrong? If we never speak, then we will never find out. And thinking maybe we could be friends. Don't let this be over before it begins. Gives me only put in my mouth again. 'Cause I still don't know how to talk to him. Ain't gonna sing school instead. I know I don't have any kids, but you're one seriously badass chick. And I've been thinking